I'm going to pick up with some more words right now, and the words I'm going to choose are going to be repetitive, and there are some concepts associated which I'd like to review. The word Breira is a word I see in the text here. The word Breira. Again, a lot of these words will make very good sense if you use an English sentence and then insert from from time to time as much Hebrew as you pick up. The word Breira is solution, you might say, and a very common Israeli expression, Ein Breira, there's no choice. I'm looking at her translation of the word Breira. The word solution is probably misapplied. The word choice is better. Ein Breira, there's no choice. We have to do what we have to do. Ein Breira. That certainly fits all kinds of headlines as far as news goes. America will make its choices, countries will make theirs, and Israel, the small nation that it is, based on survival and other reasons, will make the choice that it does. Ein Breira. There's no other choice. It'll do what it has to do. The word itself, Breira, as you look at it, is C-I-N-C-V. Again, look at the syllabication, C-I-N-C-V, second syllable C-V with a C in brackets. As I continue to find more words for our breakdown, I see the words, let's pick up another word here, the word bigadim. The word bigadim translates as the word for clothes. And this time we can basically go backwards. The word bigadim, bigadim, bigadim. As you might remember, the segulate nouns, a plural segulate noun is a shva, a kamatz, a chiricud mem. And indeed, the word bigadim has a shva, the kamatz, a chiricud mem, which would imply that the singular will have a sego, and indeed the word in the singular is beged. Beged is the Hebrew word for a piece of clothing. Beged is also the word for coat, C-O-A-T. And the word beged, for those who have a religious lifestyle, wearing the tzitzit, wearing the so-called fringe garments, remember the 613 commandments, but wearing it under one's outer uniform or clothing is called a beged katan. At least that's the term I can recall as a child, the small piece of clothing, often used as a synonym for the arbar kanfot, for the four corners, which have the strings and have the reminder of the 613 commandments. So the word beged has multiple meanings, and from the point of view of grammar, bigadim, again, the syllabication, you have the consonant, the shvana, the gimel with a kamatz there, and then you have the CVC. What makes the word bigadim interesting is it has 3 of the 6 beged kefa letters. Notice the beged letter begins the word, dagesh kal. Notice the gimel follows a half vowel, no dagesh kal. Notice the lamet follows a kamatz, follows a vowel, no dagesh kal. A good example of 3 of the 6 beged kefa letters or beged kefa letters and how they're so-called pointed. Bigadim, singular, plural, singular, the word beged. As I take a look at some more words, I'm looking for words that will stand out. The word bitucha, bitucha, bitucha. The word batuach and bitucha. Let's get both words down. The word batuach. Batuach is the word batuach, sincere, batuach, sure. Her translation of the word batuach, as I need to wear my glasses, her translation of batuach is the word sure, S-U-R-E. Okay, in the masculine singular, the word batuach, and this again is for the purpose of Hebrew grammar. Notice the patach anitachet. Notice how I say the word, not batucha, but batuach, batuach, batuach. Syllabication, consonant bet, dagesh kal in it, with a medial kamatz underneath that vowel, underneath the consonant. Second syllable is CVC. Notice what I'm writing. C for the tet, V for the shuruk, het for the final consonant. And the pata is not really a vowel. Whenever you see a laryngeal letter at the end of a word, and underneath that letter ayin, or underneath the letter het, or underneath the letter aleph, but primarily the ayin letters and the het letters And the aleph is questionable. The hey definitely not. These aleph and hey ending words are vowel markers. It's an ayin ending and a het ending. If the vowel before is a vowel that's not an ah sounding vowel, what's called a frontal vowel, such as a shuruk. It's a new sound, it's not an ah sound. Then there'll be the glide to the last letter said before the last letter het or ayin were written before. Batuah. We don't say batuha. That patach is not a legitimate vowel at all. It's called a patach of a stolen patach or a glide. An example with the letter ayin as the last letter is the word rea. Rea, a friend, rea. Spelled this way. The resh, the tzere, last letter ayin. This is how you should spell it. CVC. That's the syllabication. But we have the glide. So you don't write a vowel marker. You don't have CV and then have CV for the ayin. It's just a non-existent marker. Okay, the word batuach is masculine singular. Edna gives the word in the feminine. And again, keep in mind what I'm about to do. The word is not batuach. That patach is really not a vowel at all. You add your kamatse, and you have the feminine, and this kamatz is now two places removed from the accent and reduces to a shvana. So the feminine singular, as indicated in the vocabulary, is betucha. The patach is not an issue. It's superficial. Betucha is a feminine singular, she is sure. I might also add that the word betucha itself would not help. You'll have to add a pronoun, a subject pronoun, or whatever. He betucha. Betucha itself needs a subject to it. But she writes, she is sure, to make sure you see it as a feminine word. Whereas batuach, she would write, he is sure, without adding the word who for he. Syllabication, C-I-N-C-V, and CV with a C in brackets. And for that word betucha, you get the word bitachon, which is security. All kinds of words can come from the bet, the tet, and the het. And then there's the word beta. Oh, why am I going so fast? Let's just get down two more words. The word bitachon, bitachon. Again, the same letters, or to tell you that they're related. And for Slavication, C, V, C, tet is doubled. CV for the tet has a medial kamatz, last syllable CVC, accents on the last syllable. Beta is a very common Israeli phrase. The Israelis have that attitude of surety. Of course, beta, beta. It's a very common phrase expressing Israel.
Means
Beta means of course, everything's okay.
Say in Hebrew, yeah, right.
Beseder. There's another word, just proper Hebrew. Beseder. Beseder means everything's in order. But beta is one word, one syllable.
Is there an equivalent in Hebrew of like the American expression, sarcastic one, applying negation? Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a quick phrase.
What would be the Hebrew equivalent?
Oh, it's beta.
Beta?
Beta is one syllable. Well, that's beta is two syllables, but it's done fast. It's done quickly. It's done under pressure. Beta. You have to fix this beta. You have to go to the front. Yeah, beta. It's just a phrase that's quick, very quick. But the word is legitimate. It's related to something that has the word of surety to it, confidence to it, sincerity, and security. That word bitachon is an official Hebrew word in the Israeli military.
The security forces?
Yes.
How do you say it in Hebrew?
I guess that's what you just said, bitachon. The word for forces, I don't know what they would say. There are words, I'm sure. But bitachon is that phrase. I am ignorant of Israeli military terms, but I can assure you that the word bitachon is probably part of it. Okay, I want to do words before we take the break, or before we say goodbye. Okay, the words davar, devarim. Okay, that word davar and devarim is a good word to see. But before I look at that word, I see the word. Okay, I see two words here I'd like to go into. One of them is that word davar and devarim. Okay, the word devarim. Devarim is the word for things. Devarim is also the name of the fifth book of the Pentateuch, otherwise known as the five books of Moses, otherwise known as the Torah. Each book of the Torah gets its name from the words found in the beginning of the sentence, rather than from the theme. So, for example, the second book of the Bible, called Shemot in Hebrew, has nothing to do with the word Exodus. It deals with the second word of the Bible's second book, Ele Shemot. These are the names. Devarim, Devarim, things. The singular word Devarim is the word Davar. Davar, may I make it a plural now? Is a good mem. This kamatz is two places removing the accent and reduce the shvana in the plural. So in the case of Devarim, to break it into syllables, Diva, two syllables, C-I-N-C-V, and C-V-C for the second syllable. And from that root, the word to speak. And the word speak, you get the word speech.
Which was so Devarim, it would add Torah discussion? Because I heard the Devara Torah, or is it Devarim Torah?
No, it's the words beginning the book, the fifth book of Moses.
No, but I'm saying in general, when they ask a rabbi to give a Torah discussion,
Okay.
they say, would you give a Devarim Torah or
That's
a
right.
Devarim Torah? What is the word?
Okay, the word is Devar. When you have somebody give a talk, like I give talks for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, the Na'aseh V'Nishma. This is Devar Ze'ev, the word of Ze'ev. Devar would normally imply something religious, something serious, a Devar, word of, or it could be word about, Devar. So, for example, in a publication that came out by the Association of Jewish Studies, I was the editor of a special magazine called Perspectives On, and the topic for the winter 2025 issue, which is available on YouTube or available on a computer. Just kick in Association of Jewish Studies in their publications. And you will see a magazine devoted to the topic Jewish Studies in the Academy. There's the editorial written by me and by my co-editor, Ken Hansen. Then there is an extra word that I wrote. And that extra word is Jewish Studies for the Non-Jew, of which I mentioned Devar Yeshua. Here is a Jew wearing a kippah in the classroom who somehow lives the life of Torah as he understands it and has no problem giving a Devar Yeshua, a word about Yeshua, which is now the accepted term among Notzrim, among Christians, for Jesus, which is now seen as a Greek or Latin word.
Isn't that the same as Yehoshua ben Nun?
That's the word Yeshua is Aramaic for Yehoshua.
So Jesus means Yehoshua, Joshua.
The Hebrew is Yehoshua. The English is Joshua. Yehoshua means Yehovah, God saves. Yeshua is Aramaic. So how is it that non-Jews are willing to use Yeshua? Because the language of the day when Yeshua / Jesus walked on this planet was Aramaic for Jews.
No, but it goes to the Bible that his name was Hosea. They added the Yud for protection when the 12 spies. That's when Hosea added the Yud to his name. They added to Yehoshua being Nun. And Caleb went to the cave of Machpelah to get the strength.
Baruch, you're taking the name Yeshua and you're associating it with Jesus, not necessarily.
No, I'm going back to Yehoshua ben Nun and Moses. You're associating it with Jesus. And I'm telling you that there's another history to that.
Yeah, well, naturally there is. I mean, of the 12 tribes, 10 of them basically were not at all willing to do any kind of quest of the land. 2 of them did. One of them was Joshua. All right, but the word devar means a word of or word about. And notice how I spelled the word devar. The word begins with davar like this. and then the word of based on the next word. So this kamatz is going to reduce to shvana, and this kamatz here becomes a pata. Davar is the construct, is the smichut. Davar is the absolute of that word. Davar, and davar is the construct, word of. And then you have the definite noun, the word, you add a hey with a pata, hadavar. Didn't mean to go into all that right now, but the word davarim for the purpose of slavication. All right, give me a few more moments. Let me just take one or two more words. The word prachim at the end, pratim at the end, is again the formula. It looks like a secular noun. Piratim, like bigadim. All right, I'm looking now at one more page. The word for flags is diga.
19, page 19.
I'm looking at page, we just finished 19 with the last word bitucha there.
Oh,
I'm looking now at page 20. I'm skipping around.
okay.
I see the word for flags, digalim, 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 digalim. Again, when you see a combination like that, it should be familiar. It's a singular masculine or mixed plural of a singular noun. The word degel is a singular. It follows the word yeled. It has the two segos. The plural is not degalim, but de galim. The word for flag, degel. Her interest is just for us to read the words, and she also gives translations by each word. She does not bother with slavication. I see the word tnuah here. The word for traffic, as I mentioned, the word for movement, and that word tnuah has the root for the word na. Remember when we introduced the shvana? I pointed out that nun ayin, the word movement, and now you have the word tnuah. Tnuah is traffic or movement. But tnuah is a movement, a sense of a movement, or a children's movement, a group movement. Nun ayin is movement. And then another word she has here is the word tresar. And this is strange. She does not say anything but gives us the word tresar. You don't know about this word. You just go ahead and do your slavication. C-I-N, C-V, and CVC, and you assume it's a Hebrew word. The word is not Hebrew. There are some very important Hebrew words which are Aramaic from beginning to end. Tresar is Aramaic. It's the Hebrew word in Aramaic for 12. And in the Hebrew Bible, 12 books known as the Minor Prophets are called the Treasar. Notice what I'm doing. In the Hebrew Bible, it's called Treasar. Asar is good Hebrew. Trey, however, is not Hebrew at all. It's Aramaic.
The 12 martyr prophets.
How's that?
The 12 martyr prophets?
The Minor Prophets, yes.
Minor or martyr?
Minor, M-I-N-O-R.
Oh, okay.
The books that have one chapter like Obadiah, the book like Amos, the book like Hosea, Jonah. All the minor prophets make up one publication because they're small chapters. I find it interesting that we say in Hebrew, Trey, Aramaic, and then go into Hebrew, Asar. The word in Aramaic completely is Tresar. As she writes, this is the Hebrew. They don't change this first word. It should be Shnei Asar if you want to go strictly Hebrew with it. Why they keep the tray in there, I don't know. It could be the usage of Aramaic has influenced the tray.
Trey. That's like a common black name nowadays, Trey.
Okay, could be. I'm sure it has nothing to do with a black name.
No, but I'm just saying. Nothing.
All right, let's just get one or more two words down. I'm looking now at vocalization in Hebrew. I'm looking at the word Slav on page 19, second to last line. Look at the unvocalized Hebrew. Look at the vocalized Hebrew. Translation is not the issue. It's how come one has the Yud and one does not.
I'm sorry, what was the word?
The word is snav. Snav. Second line from the bottom on page 19. My issue is this. Unvocalized Hebrew called Ketib Malay would add the Aleph Ayin, Aleph Hey Vav Yud to create the vowel sound. If I look at unvocalized Hebrew, the word stav is spelled like this: Samech Tav Yud Vav. Looking at the vocalized Hebrew, what is missing is that Yud. How come? Why is that Yud there? And here's a good example where probably originally the word was stive, where there was a diphthong. A diphthong is two vowels coming together, an ah and a ya sound. Stive, I don't know. I cannot explain why that Yud is still there. It probably had a function that is now lost. That's why the vocalized doesn't want to show the Yud. However, the unvocalized seems to have the original whatever sound it was. And this is not the only example. Unvocalized Hebrew will give a spelling that implies a vowel that the vocalized Hebrew doesn't have at all. Even if I write the Yud in there in the vocalized Hebrew, it's not pronounced, it's silent. The word for fall or autumn, stav. It's not stive. Note that there are some words of Hebrew where the spelling implies the older traditional sound. The contemporary sound no longer has it. The vocalized Hebrew seems to have the contemporary sound, but the old spelling is gone. Okay, I guess that will be it. The word for Sweden is a good word to know. One more word. Look at the word for Sweden on page 20, on top. Schweiz. Again, how do you say that word? Is it Schweiz or is it Schweiz? I am very serious in what I just said. Here is a word. The vocalization is not the issue. Do I say CINCVC, Schweiz, CV with C in brackets? Or do I say chevet, CINCV, and then dia to be CINCVC? CINCVC brackets. Either one can work, Schwedia or Schwedia. The tsere is a medial vowel. The medial vowel could be open or closed, so that's not going to help us. I've heard Schwedia. I've also heard Schwedia.
How do you say it?
Schwedia. But my pronunciation would not necessarily be the Israeli one. Either one is fine. And the way out of it, Baruch, and everybody who's listening, is that the word is not Hebrew. It's a borrowed word, Hebraicized. And once you Hebraicize a borrowed word, then everything is out the window. And to get very theological about it, Sweden, with women walking around the corners, seeing a guy walking by himself with a kippah on his head, come on over, I'll get you a home for the night. Has the Yud Hey at the end. One of the most secular, free-for-all countries in Hebrew is endowed with the name of Hashem. Go figure that out. Smile. God's home is also Beit Soda.
That's a borrowed word.
I know it's borrowed. I know how you can make excuses. What do you think? God avoids the bait zone,
He's everywhere.
huh?
He's everywhere with everyone.
That's right.
He looks at
Well, what are we going to do with it?
Luna
And when the
present
bait zone
people.
has a zazan on the doorpost, what are you going to do about it?
It's just another occupation. I
That's
mean,
right.
sometimes there's dubious
All right.
backgrounds to that
All right.
conditions.
All right. All right. Always have to, don't have to make excuses. You know, right?
Yeah.
All right, people. I think that takes care of our hour.
Okay.
Yes, Fraser.